Yeah, here we go, y'all. Here we go. Another episode of Diverse Talking Heads podcast. I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs, and we're so happy, blessed, and pleased that you're checking out this episode of Diverse Talking Heads. Hey, we got a hot one for you today. It's something that we've been trying to get done as far as an episode for quite a while. The issue is still high, it's not going anywhere. But first, I'd like to introduce you to our panelists this evening. I'm going to ask them to please identify themselves. We're going to start with Ms. Burton.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shamara Chantel, and I'm so excited to be here with you.
Thank you, Shamara, and welcome to the panelists of Diverse Talking Heads. And next, we will have Mrs. Raff identify herself.
Hi, I'm Amy. I'm very excited to be a part of this discussion today. Just for the record, I myself am a foster parent who has also adopted through foster care. So very, very important topic. Thank you so much for tackling it.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you for being here. And next, we will start with my former classmate all the way from somewhere in the state of Maryland, Ms. Tension.
Hi, I'm Karen. I'm glad to be a part of this discussion also.
Fantastic. And my buddy, my partner in crime on the stage, my man, Mr. Ramsey. You're on mute, sir.
We see him trying to talk.
Yeah, you tricked me this time. I'm Charlie Ramsey. Thanks for having me, Calvin. And I have some things to talk about on this subject as well.
All right, fantastic. With stories of neglect and abuse and trauma, we hear from the foster parents that the statistics of child depression are surprising, but they're sobering. Up to 80% of foster youth suffer from mental health issues as compared to 18 to 22% of non-foster youth. In a study of foster youth aged 16 to 17 years old, 1/4 of that population have attempted suicide. And also the suicide attempt rate for foster youth living in a group home was 2.6 times higher than youth living in a foster home. So that's a group home as opposed to a foster home. There's a lot of stats I could give you about mental health, physical issues, physical health problems going on. But why is the foster care system so bad? Why is it so bad? Anybody want to take that question on? Why is the foster care system so bad? I see.
Cal, I'll go ahead and start. I'll go ahead and start here.
All right.
Let me talk a little bit just first about my background on this. I am a volunteer with the CASA organization, which stands for a Court-Appointed Special Advocate. And I am a volunteer there, and I am involved in a couple of cases involving foster children. We work in the interest of the child to make sure that they have everything they need in the home they're in. And that could be any way, help with their education, help with medical, help with any personal issues, give them to the appropriate people if they need therapy or things like that. And so we're very involved in that. I'm also an adopted child. I was adopted at birth. I subsequently met my biological family when I was a young adult. I was born out of wedlock. My parents married, had 3 more children. One is deceased. And my father subsequently had numerous marriages after that with 2 more children, of which one is deceased. So I have at least a half sibling who is living. But again, I was adopted as a baby at 2 months old and with my present name. And so that's my background on that. So what I wanted to say about this, particularly on this issue, this has also become a major problem during the pandemic, that the number of cases, foster cases, have gone up dramatically. For instance, in Chicago, they have gone up about 30% during the pandemic, and I've seen some numbers as high as 50%. I was just looking up today a county in Western Illinois, mostly a rural county, and their cases were up 50%. So that's not unique to just a big urban area. So that has caused a lot more children to go in the system. And it caused a shortage of volunteers for CASA because there was just not enough of them because we had this gigantic spike in the system. They are catching up on that. They started doing what we have to do as a volunteer is we have to do a class which involves 40 hours. Everybody has to go through that, and then they are sworn in by the judge in our area to do that, and then assign cases from there. And now they've made the classes bigger so we can get more people in, and a lot of good people are doing that. There's also a massive need for foster parents right now. That has also increased during the COVID times as well. So these are big problems in a system that had a lot of problems already. You know, and I'm going to stop here and let others talk about that. I'll come back to that a little more later.
You want me?
Before I ask the next question, does anybody want to chime in as to why the foster care system is so bad right now? Because, okay, let's say before the pandemic, there was issues, okay? And of course, with the pandemic and after we were all sheltered in place, people may be afraid of having newcomers into the household. Do you think, Amy, that could be part of the problem?
It could definitely be a part of the problem. Something that I really learned, and I hope I'm not wandering too far off topic, is that for as big as the foster care system is, and I think that is probably a part of why it is so bad, is that there's too much administration, there's too many moving pieces. It's just, it's a big, giant behemoth of a ineffective system. I think there's a lot of misunderstandings about why children come into foster care. The type of support and lack of support that's in place for families in general, let alone foster families, but just regular families in general, there really is not enough of a built-in support system across our society. And I think there's a lot of generalized fear regarding, in general, the foster care system, what it means to have a child that's in the foster system, issues that you might have if you try to help that child, or as Charlie already mentioned, just a lack of qualified or willing parents to take it on because of a lot of general just bad information or misunderstanding. So I think there's unfortunately several factors at play. And at the end of the day, I think, Calvin, you really hit it on the head. It's the kids that suffer who haven't done anything other than just want to be loved. So it's pretty heartbreaking.
Yes, it is. I have a family member who took on foster kids just for the sake of getting that check.
Yes.
And several years, this is more than a decade ago, my wife and I visited for a holiday, stayed in the house, and we witnessed how that relatives' kids, natural kids, were treated as opposed to the foster kids. And my wife went ballistic. Those of you that know my wife, she don't play. Shamara knows she don't play. And she went ballistic. And we will not set foot in that house or any other house ever again that family member is a part of. So why do people want to get the money and then destroy the life? This is a human being that needs love, that needs somebody to be in their corner to help them grow so that they can get out and survive in the world. When it's just for money and you treat the kid bad, treat the children bad, shouldn't that be some kind of crime that's investigated and acted on? And acted on?
Okay.
Absolutely. I actually work with children, and I literally work with DCFS almost every day. because we have foster children in our care. And I can tell you so many stories where I've seen parents, the same example you gave, they treat their biological children and they put them on this pedestal. And the foster child, I mean, their shoes are run over, they're dirty, they're hungry. And I don't hesitate to call DCFS and it's unfortunate because you don't want to take a foster child away from a foster parent because they've been through the system already. But when that foster parent is treating them worse, like I honestly feel like they're well off in a group home or in a foster system versus being with a family that is going to mistreat them. It's horrible.
Agreed. Karen.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, I know this well because I work for the Department of Human Services, and I've seen there are a lot of myths. And one of the myths is that the caseworkers don't care and they don't work hard. Yes, you have people who are foster parents for the money because at one point in time, the money was great. And not only was it great, it was the funding based on how many kids you had. You can pay your mortgage for almost 2-3 months based on the money that you get from them. The kids get a stipend. First of all, they get a clothing stipend when they first go into the system, into that home, and then they get monthly stipends. And at one point in time, some parents were getting over $3,000 a month for one child.
That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. And one of the other things was that a lot of the caseworkers stress mental therapy when necessary. And you have kids who've been in homes, and when they turn 18, check stop, parents put them out. That's why the state of Virginia created a fostering youth program to help kids from 18 to 21 continue on their journey to be successful. But that money issue, yes, you have people who call. There was a time when we had a glitch in our system and they blew up the phone because of the money. It wasn't as if I just want to know what happened. It's like, where's my money? Where's my money? Where's my money? And a lot of those parents, the caseworkers will remove the kids from the home if they feel that child is being neglected. A lot of kids came in with clothes that were too short, as Shamara said, shoes run over, hair nappy. And it's like, no, you can't do that. If you need help, say you need help. And a lot of the foster parents don't, and they do take care of some of their kids, their birth children, a lot better sometimes. And it's sad. And the kids are always going to have mental issues because they're being separated from family. They're being snatched, is the word I hate to use, but to them, they feel like they're being snatched, regardless who their parents are, what their parents do. They love them regardless. That is unconditional love.
Here in Chicago, there was a story, the beginning of the year, about children that were put into DCFS, and they didn't have a place for them to go. So they made pallets on the floor of the offices, the administrative offices for these kids. And once the news found out about it and they got busted and it was a big expose,